Phil Spencer deu uma entrevista de 22 minutos para o Gamer Tag Radio. Alguns dias atrás eu soltei o vídeo com legendas para vocês, 22 minutos de pura alegria, diversão e informação com o Phil Spencer, mas não parou por aí não. Ele falou com o Destin, que trabalhou na IGN e agora está em carreira solo, por 32 minutos praticamente, conversou sobre assuntos diferentes, perguntas diferentes, coisas muito mais bacanas que também vão abrir os olhos e trazer informações mais incríveis e impactantes para vocês. Como o vídeo tem 30 minutos praticamente, eu não vou enrolar muito por aqui não, eu quero que vocês assistam e tirem suas próprias conclusões, mas não deixe de colocar nos comentários o que você acha, o que você pensa sobre tudo que está acontecendo, assim a gente pode ir trocando aquela ideia. Eu sou o Leozeira, vou ficando por aqui, assista o vídeo e fala para mim o que você achou. Bora!
Phil Spencer, thank you so much for joining me after an incredible Direct. How are you feeling after that show?
Oh, I love Direct. I mean, for me, there's obviously I see all the behind the scenes, so the teams and the studios putting all their work, letting us come in with our cameras and record stuff, and then seeing the community and how it responded is fantastic. So we all watched it together. We got together in a room here, even though we'd seen it so many times, but we still just get a ton of energy from it. It was a good day. Good day.
Everyone really seemed to love it. Ninja Gaiden was a huge get. Props to CJ for doing some production work, I imagine, on that one. It's one of his favorite games. Can you give us a bit more of a peek into the Japan trip that made that happen?
Well, it was multiple trips. I think I have a picture actually of me in their offices holding, where we're holding a Ryu statue. That was probably 2017, like when we started hey, we should go do something. And then I'd go over, Sarah, Bond, and I multiple times a year. We needed to find the right studio to do the game. So that when Platinum, we got them signed up. And so it's been a good journey. It's been a long journey, but we waited because obviously the game's coming out in 2025. So in terms of launch, announced a launch, this is a pretty tight turn for us. I know when I was there last Tokyo Game Show, I was in the offices and I was playing old Ninja Gaiden on my phone on cloud, and I saw somebody saw that I was playing, and I was like, oh, I better log off because I thought I was going to spoil the secret. But yeah, it took a long time, but really great response, and I love the energy around 4 and getting to do the remake of 2 Black and to drop that in the show, and the support we had from Koei and Team Ninja and Platinum all up was just fantastic. It was a nice moment, especially for Xbox because we have such a history with the franchise.
Definitely a fun surprise for me. I downloaded it and played a little bit last night. Let's talk about games. So what was your favorite game of 2024? And now that you've made all these announcements, what are you looking forward to most in 2025?
My favorite, so I usually try to take our own portfolio out because it's kind of unfair, I think. I will say I'm playing through retail. I say retail because we have debug builds for a long time. Retail of Indiana Jones. And I think Machine Games just did fantastic work on that. I'm really having a great time with it. But if I think about our third-party partners, my game of the year, I think I voted for it, was Metaphor, Refantasio. I just thought the team did really awesome work. I love new franchises, kind of new IP, teams that are brave to go do that. Looking forward over the next year, so many games coming. I do have I will always have a soft spot for Doom, just given how many years Doom has been a part of my life. But I will say it from the show, seeing Compulsion, their third game, like them evolving their capability as a studio. It's really nice to just see Guillaume and the team and the progress that they're making. And then there's stuff coming in our second half, which I'm also really excited about. And obviously you can't, if you're in this industry, GTA and like what it will mean when it launches to this industry, will just be a fantastic moment. So from a game standpoint, I feel really good about the lineup of things to come from first and third party, and a ton of fun stuff to play.
Absolutely. Sorry, I was distracted by a technical issue there for just a second.
Was it me?
No, it was not you. It was Will. Will.
No.
Just kidding. Yeah. Anyway, that's a good transition point. We do want to take a bunch of questions from fans, from patrons who wrote in. And one of the pressing questions was about Satya Nadella's comments saying, we're redefining what it means to be an Xbox fan. So what does it mean to be an Xbox fan? Maybe you could define that for us.
Now, let me start. It is my answer. Satya can talk about his answer. I'll just say, I don't think I get to define what it means to be a fan of Xbox, right? It's like your experience in the platform is different than mine, is different from other players. So I think everybody builds their own personal connection to the platform. You know, the thing that's really driving us is how do we continue to innovate to make the best games possible? And when we look at the world today, the best games, the biggest games, the ones that fuel kind of reinvestment in new games that are coming or games that are available in as many places as possible. So I want Xbox as a platform to be world-class at connecting players and creators wherever those players might be. And whether it's on cloud, whether it's on PC, whether it's on our own hardware and our own platform, which we love, or other places, we're constantly working at Xbox to make sure that everybody can play the games that they want to play. You know, one of the things I was really proud of yesterday at Showcase was we opened the show with the announcement that all of these games are play anywhere. And it was kind of just a text announcement. But for those of us that are playing on our handheld, like our Steam Decks, our Allies, or our Lenovo, like
prototypes,
console, like all of the, it matters that my save game moves with me. Like I wouldn't want to have to start Indie again because I'm playing on a different platform, on a different device. I want to be able to play the games that I'm playing everywhere. And I think we learn a lot as a platform by innovating in that space. So let's continue to innovate as a platform to allow the best games. And then from a fan standpoint, I think Showcase is a good example of this. Let's make sure the best games will be on Xbox and that people will be able to play it, whether from our studios or other studios, and it's the best place to play those games.
In order to be the best place, some of your competition have been utilizing AI features. So would the next Xbox use AI to improve graphics or enhance things in another way?
I think it's really important in the AI space that we take the same lens of how do we use AI to make the player experience better or the creator experience better. We already have kind of auto up-res technologies, whether it's from NVIDIA, from us, from AMD, Sony's rolled out theirs as well. I think that can help, especially when you think about battery life product devices that are battery driven where power is important. More resolution means more power. So if you can actually use techniques to up-res a screen, actually makes the battery life longer. But when we think about AI at a fundamental level, does it make our creators' jobs easier? Does it allow them to do things that they've never done before? And then on the player side, most of our AI investments today are all around safety and how we're kind of making sure our services are as safe as they can possibly be. And we'll continue doing that. Like if we can make creators' lives easier and they can do things they've never done and make our services more secure and better for our players, like that's definitely a worthwhile investment.
Got it. Is that sort of what was meant by, or at least partially, the largest technical leap you have ever seen in a hardware generation? Stated at, what was it, last year's show?
I think that was Sarah's line. I think Sarah runs our hardware team. Like I think she's really excited by the innovation that we're seeing in hardware, and frankly, not just from us. But when you look in the industry right now, I mean, CES, the headlines around new form factors for people playing video games on different devices, the Switch 2 announced was cool to see. So I think we went through a period in gaming where there was either a desktop or a laptop or a console, and that was kind of it to play video games. Now you've got, LG, we announced that you can play games there. You can stream games to different devices. So one of the things is just how many different devices are able to play the AAA video games that people love. And then making sure that our next devices are devices that are really defined by innovation and differentiation. And I love the roadmap that the team's putting together there.
You brought up CES, so I'm going to go there. How are those Xbox handheld prototypes you teased to Bloomberg coming along?
You have to use the product, right? And that's what we do, whether it's the products that are in market today, I think it's important, the partnerships that we have with the OEMs, thinking about our Xbox experience through the Xbox app and how it performs on smaller form factor controller-driven devices, how we're streaming, how Game Pass shows up. It's not just on the device side, but yes, device innovation has to happen, but also our services, our UI, our games tested on those platforms, on those screen sizes, on the devices that perform at that level of performance. It's a lot of work for us to stay on top of this, but it allows more people to play the great games that are out there. And for the industry, I just think that's a critical thing for us to be focused on right now.
Yeah, ripping the Band-Aid off on that topic while you're there, are all Xbox games going to PlayStation someday, or will there still be exclusives? How are those red lines looking these days?
The red line, just to be clear, was me responding to an answer. We are finding that our games shipping on multiple platforms is a good thing for Xbox. It makes Xbox stronger. It lets us do shows like we did with Showcase with great games, give our game time teams the time they need for us to invest in platform, for us to invest in hardware. I think all of this is part of what Xbox is going to be when we go forward. When you ask the question like no, I mean, there's Xbox games that have shipped that we're not going to put on other platforms. Some of the things we'll look at how they do, but you're going to see more games, not just shipping on PlayStation, shipping on Nintendo. We'll continue to support Steam the way that they ship. We want our games to be in places that people play. We think that enables us to do more on platform, do more on hardware. And it's a good system for us that works. It doesn't mean every other company's got to do it that way. But it does mean, I think, that measuring our progress is different than maybe we measured the progress of Xbox or a console-only platform 10 years ago. It's why we talk a lot about players. I think a lot about the hours that people play on our platform, where we're seeing growth. And this has enabled us to grow in places that we don't normally. Our fastest growing region right now is Asia in terms of players. And I think about hours. Our fastest growing hours is on cloud. It's us finding players in places that people want to go play. They want to buy a console. They want to buy a gaming desktop. Great. Our games will be awesome there. Our consoles will be a great place to play. But let's let games live where players want to play them.
Got it. I remember a speech you made at some point. It was something like, we're doing 4 games. Those games aren't Indiana Jones and Starfield. Indiana Jones has an exclusivity window, to be fair. Can you solidify that Starfield staying put for the time being?
No, I'm not. There's no specific game that this kind of goes back to my red line answer. Mm-hmm. There's no reason for me to put a ring fence around any game and say this game will not go to a place that it would find players, where it would have business success for us. What we find is we're able to drive a better business that allows us to invest in great game lineup like you saw. And that's our strategy, right? Our strategy is to allow our games to be available. Game Pass is an important component of playing the games on our platform. But to keep games off of other platforms, we don't think is a path that that's not a path for us. It doesn't work for us. What we're doing now, we think really enables us to build the best platform for the world's best games, because the world's biggest games are available in multiple places. And more creators are asking us, how do we stay connected when our game might be playable in all these different places? And we want Xbox to be absolutely the platform that enables that. We think that makes us unique. Most of the other platforms out there are single platform on single device, whether that's PC, whether it's mobile, whether it's a console. And we want Xbox to be a platform that enables creators across any screen that people want to play on.
I hear you. That makes absolutely perfect sense to me. I do think that some fans are a little concerned about, how should I say it, Xbox losing its identity maybe? What would you say to address those concerns from longtime fans?
Well, one, I hear them, right? I'm pretty active in our player base, and I'm active in the community. I listen. I think our identity will continue to evolve, which it frankly always has. But when I hear concerns about, is my library of games safe? Am I still going to be able to play the games? And I think over the years, I'm proud of the commitment we've shown to respecting purchases on our platform through back compat, through cross entitlement, Xbox Play Anywhere, through cross-play, things that we've done to enable people to continue to play. So I hear that when I think about I see the investments we're making in platform and how we want Xbox to show up in multiple places and your library to be available there. When I think about buy to stream, so if I buy a game, I'll be able to stream it to devices. Like, this is all about making sure that your library of games that you own on Xbox are playable in multiple places. So I'd say it's an evolution of our identity, but I believe it's an identity that this industry needs. When you think about where this industry is now and you see the challenges, the business challenges that are out there for many companies, that I think us keep making games more accessible to more people has just got to be front and center for us as an industry, so we continue to see great games that we've seen over the years.
You talked a little bit about how Xbox is growing in Asia. Could you elaborate more on Xbox's plan to grow outside of the US? I know you mentioned China as being an interesting territory to look at, but is there any more you could talk about there?
We're seeing a lot of growth on PC. PC Game Pass is doing really well. Our Xbox app on Windows continues to evolve, and it's fun to see the work that the team is doing and how people are engaging with Game Bar and our Xbox app, our portfolio. We made the decision, as you know, years ago, that our first party would ship both on Xbox console and PC day and date. And for the most part, we've been able to deliver this, a couple kind of anomalies, but we've done that over the years. So we're seeing a lot of growth in cloud, a lot of growth in PC. Our first party is doing a great job. And when you look back, we just had the biggest COD release we've ever had. It's with all the players that we have, Indiana Jones. And I was looking at Indiana Jones play on cloud and seeing it's like one of our top games that were streamed. Players were playing that way. And I just think, how awesome is it that we can build games and they get played by millions and millions, if not tens of millions of people, in places that maybe 5 years ago we wouldn't have envisioned, but now it's become a reality. So when we look at global markets, we want to map to how the market dynamic it is. We don't have one solution for every market. That's not us. You don't have to go buy a console in order to become an Xbox, a member of the community in these markets. And people are responding. They're playing on PC, they're playing on cloud, and they're playing on console. For those that want that, we're going to continue to do great work on console and continue to make sure that experience is top notch.
Do you see the market going more in that direction, just as an anecdote? Because you're talking about releasing basically anywhere the players are. Some people are still doing traditional models, but the industry is making $300 million games now, and they're looking for new revenue growth sectors. Where do you see the games industry, not just Xbox, but the games industry going with that regard?
It's already there. And I know they're not always the games that all the community talks about, but I see the most played games on the platform. And when you look at the most played games, you're looking at games that are available on any screen from the creators. If you think about a Fortnite, you think about a Roblox, a Minecraft, a Call of Duty, a Genshin, like, you look at these games and they have tremendous success because they're available anywhere, from small screen to big screen. I'm able to log in and play the games that I want to go play. And those are the games that are at the top of revenue and the top of players on every platform, and have been for a while. I remember it was a few years ago, I made some comment about single player games not having the same impact that they used to have. And I got a bunch of, kind of grief for that. But what I was just saying is I love playing single player games. I love the fact that in our showcase, every one of those games is a single player game. Beginning, middle, and end, I can go play those games. But when I saw the business and where the kind of hours and revenue was going, I was worried that if $70 was your only solution to selling a big single player game, that you might run into just the money and the time are going to other games. And this is kind of part of Game Pass's genesis and what we were trying to do there. And it's helped us. It's helped us to support those games. But I wouldn't look at you like you position kind of as a forward look, and I get it. Yes, I think you're going to continue to see more and more games available on more screens, but frankly, it's today. When you look at the biggest games in the world, they're available in a ton of geos and on many different screens, and that's what creators want.
We touched on it a little bit already, but a lot of people asked this question. It was in regards to the no red lines comment again, in regards to Halo. And they're wondering, what is the value proposition to owning, say, an Xbox console or being in the Xbox ecosystem?
You're going to be able to play your games that you buy with us in many different places. Your state, your save game, like quick story, a friend of mine who I work with, she's younger than I am. She never played the Gears games. So we're going through and playing Gears from started on 1. We're now on 3. They're all co-op. So we're playing together. And, the simple thing like logging in and seeing my save game from 2011 kind of populate. And I still get to go play, like the experience that you're going to have on Xbox is we respect your progress on our platform and the games that you own with us. We're going to make available in more places, whether it's buy to stream and you can stream to the devices that are near you on console or PC. Like that, I think that's our value proposition of Xbox. And on the hardware side, I want us to innovate and make the hardware the differentiator. Like we've gotten into this space where the differentiation on the hardware has gone down and it's really been locked games that you've tried to make the identity of the hardware. I love when I see handhelds, when I see kind of unique things that hardware manufacturers do. And I want our hardware to compete on power and on innovation. So let's have our platform continue to innovate with services and the hardware work that we're doing, whether it's control, whether it's power, mobility, whatever it is that we're focused on. And let's have our games reach you as the person who's investing your time and your money in our games wherever you want to go play. I think that's our identity going forward. And it's working for us now. And I love the innovation that we're able to bring through doing that.
I've had this crazy theory that you're going to lock in a deal with Steam, and Steam's going to be, because you brought up Epic in one of your interviews. How are you and Gabe? You guys been hanging out, chatting at all?
I wouldn't, like, we tend not to lock up things when we do. We have a great relationship with Valve, and I mean, obviously they're right down the road from us. And the conversations we have, listening to them as a developer on Windows, as a publisher on Windows, as a storefront on Windows, and the things that they would like to see. I know Jason Ronald at CES talked a little bit about our work on Xbox with our Windows team here. And I think us, as much as we listen to game creators on our platform, listening to what Valve and Epic and Discord and others have to say about what it means to be on Windows with a great gaming service, and how we as Microsoft and the Xbox team continue to evolve those things. Very, very important. Not like lock up kind of way, but their voice in the evolution of our platforms is so, so important.
So confirmed, Steam on the next Xbox, confirmed. This is an interesting one. So I had reached out about this one, and I'm working on a separate thing, but I'll just ask you directly. Would you ever consider dropping or adjusting the Xbox Series S parity clauses with the Xbox Series X, those sort of requirements? Some developers have brought up difficulty optimizing for the Series S. Can you tell us any more about plans there?
Yeah, in a way, I think about it in almost exactly the opposite way right now. With the rise of handheld PCs and even the introduction so far of the Switch 2, as developers, we're building on more device specs, from lower powered, because they're battery powered devices, all the way through things that plug into the wall. I actually think we have a real advantage because we've been targeting S for quite a while, that our games have been built and they're portable across many different specs. So when we look at something like a Steam Deck or a ROG Ally or something, we've got this S version of the games that's more tailored to the device specs of a lot of devices that frankly are getting introduced right now. And I think that helps us. And frankly, the scalability of engines today allows them to scale from ray trace enabled multi-$1,000 graphics card on desktop PCs, all the way through a handheld battery powered device. So for me, S has been helpful in our portfolio. And I'm playing Indiana Jones on the S and it looks great. So like it's definitely capable of playing current generation games in a great way. But most of your games that are going to be out there are going to be supporting these different devices. And the S spec of what it is actually maps pretty well to the devices that we're seeing introduced right now. So I think it actually is an important design point for teams going forward, that kind of power performance mix that you see in the Series S.
Yeah, it is close to the Steam Deck. Close. But yeah, and well, anyway, I don't mean to go crazy there. Let's talk about the double A. The double A. I had the pleasure of producing one of the dev directs for, or not dev directs, the indie showcase for Xbox on the IGN side. How are you going to focus on double A games and indie developers in the coming years?
We're going to continue to invest in the market. We obviously do a lot of, I'll call it kind of buying of content, investing in the market through Game Pass, which has been a good thing for us. I think it has us probably putting as much development funding into that space as any gaming company in the world. And I'm proud of that work that we do. But that's obviously just the Game Pass portfolio. So we want all games to be successful. We're trying to do more and more on the platform to showcase, because what we hear from the audience is there's a lot of games right now, and discovery, regardless of where you are, whether you're on PC, on Xbox console, like just how you get discovery for your games. We've done some things to help spotlight great games that launch on our platform and call it the indie AA space, giving them unique marketing on the platform, in the dash and on the Xbox app on PC so that they see the light of day. We take feedback, like we've had feedback about our tools and our ingestion and like how it works to get games into our storefront. And it's been great feedback as we continue to evolve the back end for those teams, and just spotlight when great games are out, regardless of the team size. But it's critical for our industry that it doesn't become just around multiple $100 million video games. Like it would just choke off such a creative outlet that we get. It was great seeing Bellatro like up for Game of the Year at some places, and you want that. I don't know if we call that double A, but I'll just say games that aren't AAA budget with AAA size teams. And we're going to continue, whether it's through Game Pass or spotlighting in our dash, to ensure that those teams see the light of day and get discovered on a game is a game. Like we want games on Xbox to be seen for their quality, not the team size behind the games.
Your dev direct showed off a stacked couple of months. You have Ninja Gaiden now. You have Ninja Gaiden 4 coming this fall. You have South of Midnight on the way, Avowed coming, Doom the Dark Ages, and that covers you through May 15th and the one fall release. Do you have more coming to reveal at a later date?
We do. And I feel so good about the portfolio of where it is. I mean, it's allowed us to do some things. You know this, like we moved Avowed out of 24. Yes, like we can always use more time on a game. But we also knew, like we had Call of Duty and we had Black Ops, and it was Call of Duty and Indiana Jones, and like, was there a room? We want to give Avowed room. So as we look forward, right, it's been nice to be able to give some teams time because the way the portfolio's lining up to make sure we get the right level of time for the teams to evolve their creative ideas. And I know in some cases I hear from the community that maybe we announced some things too early. I want to hear about State of Decay. I want to hear about Everwild. I want to hear about Contraband. Like I have the list. But I'll say that on the positive side, I take that feedback and I get it. On the positive side, this is allowing us to take more time on the games because the portfolio is rich and it's deep. For Game Pass players, they're getting a great flow of great games. If you like to buy your games, they're all available, obviously, to buy. You can stream, they're play anywhere, like go play them. But we're in a good position that it's allowing us to kind of tune the portfolio. And also, like I said, a mix of single player, multiplayer games. I want to be able to invest in different genres. It's not all about one thing. It's about making sure whether you love Flight Sim or you love Aura or it's Towerborn or it's Indiana Jones. Like I want to make sure there's not all players play all games. We all have our favorite genres that we love. And I want to make sure our lineup just has something for everybody.
Last one for you. I'm looking at the timeline over the next 10 years for Xbox and realizing you'll be at retirement age in the United States in about the next 10 years. So what do you hope Xbox becomes over that period of time?
the thing that drives me, there's two things that really drive me. One is more industry, where I have a fundamental belief that gaming is a good thing for the planet, that people coming together with interactive entertainment, talking about the stories that are told, collaborating, cooperating in games. I mentioned I'm playing through Gears and just what an awesome time it is. Some of my best friendships have been built that way. So I want gaming to continue to grow because I do think it's just a fundamentally important part of entertainment. I think it's better than any other form of entertainment. Yes, I'm biased, but I just love the way it builds community and bring things together. There's always things we should be careful of as an industry and how we learn, but I have a fundamental belief there. So then when I go to Xbox, I want us to be part of that. I don't want us to fall into we do tomorrow what we did yesterday because it's what we've always done. I don't want us to be afraid to innovate. Some of the things will work great, some of them won't. But let's stay nimble, whether it was back compat, which we weren't supposed to do because it was going to hurt game sales on the next gen, whether it's even like going back to live, but I think about whether it's Game Pass and whether that's a good thing. I remember the debates around whether we should allow free to play on console and should subsidized hardware have free games, and that'll be but like, let's make sure that we stay as a team that's willing to take risks, learn from the things that work and from the things that don't work, and that our teams feel like they can take those risks and be rewarded. We're not perfect there. But it's something I aspire for with the teams, and like if I could enable anything in my time here, it would be that we continue to innovate, not be defined by what was yesterday, but looking forward to what creators and players want tomorrow.
Bill, that was a really great answer. Thank you.
Get mad. I guess I'm pretty glad.